Program was changing. Broken glass meant a marketing opportunity.
Isn't Gonzaga industrious? They'd bottle the glass and find a way to make it into a fundraiser.
All right, Coach, Casey Calvary, and I know over the years you've told me that Casey's been one of the most important players in this program's history. A physical, tough, big-time, big-moment player.
Yeah, and probably easily in the argument for one of the all-time greats to ever play in this program. If you think about where we were before Casey got here and then where we were after Casey got here, and think about what Casey's teams did when he was at Gonzaga, the number of wins, the number of championships, the number where we went in the NCAA tournament. I mean, it's a phenomenal career, one of the all-time toughest Zags ever to don the uniform. Casey really passed the torch down, the torch of what it means to be a Zag, of how tough you got to be, of how to be, a big man in this program. And he handed that thing to Corey Violette, and obviously Corey had a tremendous career himself, but I think, he owes a little bit of that, to Casey's tutoring. Incredibly tough, incredibly clutch, and, another one of those guys off the floor that's just witty and funny and just a great person.
Yeah, Casey Calvary played in 3 Sweet 16s here at Gonzaga.
And an Elite Eight.
And an Elite Eight. Time for a new segment called The Coach's Corner. You get a chance to meet now Mark Few's assistant coaches, and they sit down and talk to us today about the big men in this program.
Robert's worked extremely hard on his body and really worked hard on developing an inside presence and really worked on his left hand. He had a huge left-hand jump hook the other night in crunch time. So he anchors down the 5 for us, and you just can't say enough about his energy. He does a great job talking and communicating on the floor, and those are little things people don't see or understand. You don't see very many guys as a freshman be able to step in and one, have the toughness or the poise that he has. He's unique and special is kind of an overused word, but he's a pretty special freshman. He can rebound at a high level. He can score at a high level. He's just going to continue to get better because he's a real good listener. He's got a bright future here, there's no doubt about it.
He came over to the States with a plan. I mean, he wanted to get better at basketball and see, where the game could take him. So he's a motivated guy. He reminds me a lot of Ronnie in that aspect where, he came over with a big vision and wanted to make an impact, and it was important for him to play well.
Kelly is somebody else who has a lot of maturity for a freshman. He's really smart, he's really skilled, he's going to get better with experience and time. Michigan State, perennial, year in, year out, best rebounding team in the country. And if you're soft or not aggressive, you're going to get stepped on. And Kelly was great. He was, very sure of himself going in the game and was step back to hit people. You better, when you get your opportunity to go box somebody out, you better make the most of it because you're going to get hit at the other end. And then, one of the other guys nobody will see this year that I think has a bright future is Sam Dower. We're going to redshirt him. He's a lefty from Minneapolis, Minnesota. Can really score the basketball. Biggest thing he needs to work on this year is his strength. And so we're really working hard on how he eats and making sure he gets the correct number of lifts throughout the week for him to be at his best a year from now.
To the Mark Few Show. Now, time for our Coeur d'Alene Casino fan question of the week, and it comes in from Alan from Seattle. And Coach, he says, Gonzaga's off to a strong start as usual, but several teams in the WCC have notched some big early season wins over teams like Oklahoma, Stanford, Oregon, UCLA, and USC. Is this a signal of an increasingly tough WCC, and what will it take for the West Coast Conference to become a consistent 3 or 4 bid league?
Well, I think it's a sign that, yeah, there are some very good teams in our league. Our league is a year older now in most cases, with the exception of us and possibly St. Mary's. So I think that's a good sign. I mean, what you do in the non-league season is something that the NCAA committee looks very, very hard at. Now, some teams like to accrue as many wins as they possibly can and aren't worried about playing a tough non-conference schedule. And, you know, that can work. That develops a lot of confidence in your team. But then you can't look for any favors at the end of the year, you know, if you want an at-large bid. The fact that Portland's went out and has played some teams and had some success against them, and they've had some success down in the tournament in Anaheim, is going to do nothing but help their chances if they don't win our league tournament at the end of the year. As far as getting, you know, I think it's probably maybe realistic on the best case scenario for our league to get 3 bids. I don't see our league ever getting 4 bids. That would be 50% of the teams in our league, and quite honestly, a lot of the teams in our league don't schedule as aggressively as we do, and you know, or as Portland has this past year. So I give the Pilots a lot of credit. They knew they got a lot of seniors this year. They got a heck of a great team, and they've taken advantage of those neutral court games or those big games thus far, and that's going to really help their resume at the end of the year. And it's also going to, you know, a rising tide floats all boats, so it helps where before we'd go into our league and watch our RPI plummet tremendously, even though there were some really good teams in our league, our RPI would still plummet. This year, I think you'll see maybe a more leveling off of the RPI and maybe even enhancing it a little bit.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, it's the Mark Few Show. When we come back, we'll sit down with guard Stephen Gray. Stay with us.
I think this team, more so than teams past, has something to prove, just because we did lose so much last year with our seniors, and it puts a little chip on our shoulder that maybe hasn't been there.
Welcome back to the Mark Few Show. All right, time now for our player profile. Stephen Gray came to Gonzaga from Bainbridge Island. He's a sharp-shooting guard who came this side of the mountains in the state of Washington, and he has not been a disappointment at all. Let's sit down with Stephen Gray. Where are you at? How's your game?
My game, I feel, is solid.
It is?
It's right there. Just.
I don't know what that means. Paint a picture for me. Are you ready to take over this program?
I guess.
Be the guy.
I'm willing to go ahead and step in that role and see what happens. I'm not gonna back away from it. So, you know, I'm gonna take, you know, the things I have now, the tools I have, different tricks or knowledge, I guess, that I've acquired over the time, and just how other people have, you know, taken over the program or, you know, filled into that role. I'm just gonna try and do it my own little way, but, you know, I'm ready for that challenge, I guess.
Because, Stephen, do you believe that there's a lot on you and Matt this year? I mean, everybody else is really young. Even Meach is young, and he's going to be the starting point guard, but you and Matt are going to have to take over a lot of the offense, at least minded-wise, right?
Yeah, I mean, just because as far as, you know, Meach played a little bit last year, but he played quite a bit last year, but backing up Parker, I don't think he really got to understand, you know, concepts and whatnot fully. So, I mean, that's something that me and Matt are going to have to try and help him, the other young guys out, just getting everyone kind of on the mindset of, like, what we're trying to accomplish as an offensive team, what we're trying to accomplish as a defense team. So just that part, and the pressures that's going to have. I mean, because we've always had, you know, a lot of upperclassmen that, you know, each kind of help out the few younger guys. But I mean, it's just a few of us trying to help out a lot of young guys. I mean, it's going to be a lot tougher, but see how it goes.
What'd you do this summer?
Nothing.
Nothing. Did you stay in Spokane?
I stayed in Spokane. I took some classes. Went to Silverwood once. I went to the Gorge once, and worked at basketball camp back home.